Hello everyone, welcome back to Vibe Biology. Now we will talk about the evolution of medical education and legal medicine in India. So let's start. Picture this. Back in 1822, in Calcutta, India, someone said, "Hey, let's start a medical school." It was a great idea and it actually happened. Fast forward to 1835 and that school grew up to be a full-fledged medical college. Just a few years later, Madras decided to join in the opening its own medical school in 1835, which became a college in 1850. Bombay wasn't about to miss out on the action, right? So they got their own medical college in 1852. Let's talk about creating the medical detectives. In 1857, there was a Eureka movement in Madras. Someone thought we need medical detectives. So they appointed Dr. Argyhart, who was not just a private doctor but also a coroner, like a real live Sherlock Holmes. He became the very first professor of medical jurisprudence. They even got books from England to help them out. Some of the famous ones were Taylor's Principle and Practice of Medical Jurisprudence and Casper's Medical Jurisprudence, like books. Now, books, and more books. People in India also started writing their own books on this cool topic. Dr. Norman Shivers wrote the first one in 1856. Dr. I.B. Lyon joined the fund in 1888 with Medical Jurisprudence for India, and Major Colliesberry had a blast writing Legal Medicine in India and Toxicology in 1902. Now let's meet Dr. J.P. Modi. Then there was Dr. J.P. Modi who taught at Agra Medical College and later at Lucknow Medical College. He was a big shot medicological expert. In 1920, he wrote a book that became super famous. Not only with medical students, but even lawyers and judges loved it. It was called the Textbook of Medical Jurisprudence and Toxicology. Now, the British rule and the laws. The British rulers in India were like, let's make some rules, right? So they codified the criminal law in India in 1833. Then in 1860, they brought in the Indian Penal Code, that is IPC, which was like the boss of all the laws, right? Then in 1861, the Criminal Procedure Code, that is the CRPC, joined the party. And guess what? We are still using these laws today. But now, recently, their name have been changed, right? Sleuthing and coroner stories. For solving crimes, they introduced the Indian Police Act. But the coroner system, where you have a special person to investigate deaths, was only in the fancy cities like Calcutta, Bombay, and Madras. Everyone else had to follow the police inquest system, right? Then what happened in 1999 is that they were like, okay, no more coroners for the whole country, so they banned that. Regulating the doctors. Now, to make sure doctors were doing their doctory things right, they formed provincial medical councils in 1912. Doctors had to register themselves like an official club. Then in 1916, they made a law to recognize the qualifications from proper schools and punish them who had fake certificates. The grand finale. In 1933, they dropped the Indian Medical Council Act on us. They said, let's have a council to control all the state medical councils and make sure medical education is top notch all over the India. India's big gift to the world. Last but not the least, India gave the world a super cool present, dactylography. It's a fancy word for fingerprinting. Imagine catching bad guys by their fingerprints. That's what it's all about. So there you have it, guys. Next, we'll talk about the wacky world of forensic medicine and their different subfields. First is forensic medicine extravaganza. Welcome to the fascinating world of forensic medicine. It's like the detective show you binge watch, but in real life. Imagine forensic medicine as a grand party, and it has a lot of cool branches to explore. Forensic pathology, the body whisperer. First up, we have the forensic pathology. These are the body whisperers, the ones who figure out how and why someone got hurt or met their end. They even dive into the weird stuff like asphyxial deaths. It's like CSI, but with lab coats. Forensic psychiatry. They are the mind benders. Ever wondered about the legal side of the mental health? That's where the forensic psychiatry comes in. They are like mind benders, studying how the mental illness fit into the world of law. Imagine solving crime with psychology. Forensic odontology. They are the tooth sleuths. Now here's a fun one. These are the tooth sleuths. They use dental know-how for super important stuff like identification and even figuring out who left those mysterious bite marks. It's like a dental detective adventure. Forensic anthropology. Bone jockeys. They are the bone jockeys. It's all about studying different body shapes and skeletal secrets. Why you ask? Well, mostly to identify people. It's like playing a game of bone puzzles. Forensic science. They are the lab wizards. They are the lab wizards. They are like magicians of the forensic world, but without the wands, obviously. These non-medical scientists, often biologists or chemists, handle all the nitty-gritty of the crime investigation. Think of them as the behind-the-scene heroes. Perfect partners. Forensic experts and scientists. There's a strong bond between forensic medical experts and forensic scientists. The medical folks collect all the evidence during the autopsies or when examining the living people. Then the scientists take over, running tests, and help them to solve the mystery. It's like a tag team of justice. Two halves of the same puzzle. So you see these branches are like the different pieces of the same puzzle, right? They all work together to uncover the truth, just like a group of quirky detectives on a mission to make the world a little safer and a lot more interesting. There you have it. Now, this is the funny and quirky world of the forensic medicine. I tried my best to make it funny. Now, let's talk about more on the next end. We will talk more about forensic medicine in the next one. Thank you.